Hello and welcome again to another video lecture on dynamical system hypothesis. And this is a very interesting but highly technical uh, area of in cognitive science. And what are dynamical systems? In short, dynamical systems are those which are dynamic, and being dynamic means which change over time. That is, they're changing, evolving with time. And any system which is evolving and changing with time is a dynamical system. So in short, nothing around us remains static. Everything is changing. So any system that we see, be it our solar system, be it our Earth ecosystem, or our uh, physiological system, neurophysiological system, our human body as a biological system, from the very small cell to the organs like heart and brain or even gut, they are all changing with time. Now, dynamical system is basically a branch of mathematics which uses the set of equations, that is nonlinear equations, to explain or study such systems which evolve with time. Now, it is a system whose changes over time can be characterized by a set of equations that show how current values of variables depend mathematically on previous values of those variables. So this branch of mathematics, that is dynamical theory, they apply nonlinear. It applies nonlinear and differential equation to study such systems. Now, but what does it mean that initial values of the variables they influence the values of the further? Uh, it's more like a system where the in equations, for example, a linear equation will be y is equal to kx plus c, where c is some constant, and again k is a constant and x is a variable. So value of y simply depends upon the value of x, and all the other constants are known. But when we are talking about the variables where in such a way that the each variable depends on the value of each variable, the system as a whole, the equation that describes the system, there are multiple variables, and the value of one system, uh, one value of one variable, you know, depends upon the value of the other, which are not always known, which again they change over time. So in this case, z is equal to x into y could be an example of nonlinear equation. Now, what could be an example of dynamical system? So, but before getting into the dynamical systems, I would like to just talk about for a while about what is the why are we discussing dynamical system approach? As I said, it's being seen as an alternative to computational representation understanding of mind and connectionism, and they are saying that the the systems such as human brain are basically dynamic systems where they are non-representational systems. So in interaction with the environment, when we are in cognition, is basically in getting it's not like just getting input and representing this information in some symbolic form and then processing according to some rule and you know then giving an output, rather behavioral output. Rather, it is basically each interaction with the environment is basically a perturbation for the system, the brain system, and that starts a process of you know the evolution of the system with time. So when, for example, when the light rays or the sun rays hit my retina, or the light hits my retina, the electromagnetic waves hit my retina, this information is processed. So they basically act as, they perturb the system, and they change the initial state or the values of, of my retina. The, if we are going to describe it in terms the retinal activation in the form of some equations. So for example, we have cones, like, to identify colors. So the in this, it is very complicated to us. Of course, the mathematics we also understand. It's higher level mathematics, but just to make it philosophically clear or more theoretically clear, is that the equations describing the changes in the initial states of your retina, or the cones of the color cones in your retina, will influence the further downward, or the systems. So from retina through optic nerves, the information is processed through the visual cortex in certain specific areas, and those systems are again activated, and that is again, they are perturbed. So overall, and till the time we see the image, the whole system has been, evolving with time. It's a dynamic system, but at the same time, it's not always that it is always activated. So psychologically or mentally speaking, it happens that our brain, when it is perturbed, it is responsible for our certain moods. So when we are interacting with environment, so for example, somebody shouts at me, then the information that his brain receives, it perturbs the system, and I feel agitated, because among all the possible states that my brain could be, it goes into, depending upon the neural makeup and activity in my brain, it goes into a certain state. For example, being, say, sad, or being, offended, that feeling that I feel. But after a while, I do not constantly remain in that state, because over a period of time, my system also settles down. You know. So it is not that once, it is not like a symbolic processing computer, that it once, uh, it's according to a set of instructions, one symbol, is causing causal influence in the other, process, like language like system. But it is it is the overall system which actually is affected by the process. The initial condition is the initial values and the variables, whatever they may be in the system, they are affected, by the initial perturbation, and then they move on to, according to those. If it basically, it's easy to understand the form of equations, and we'll see shortly example of weather. So when those initial conditions are changed, they further change the state of the system according to the values. And then the further subsystems are also within that neural network. They are also they also changed their state. But after a while, when the perturbation is over, if the effect of perturbation is over, they come down to their one of the more stable states. So it also provides a framework to understand embodied and situated cognition approach, which we also discussed. So in a dynamical approach to situated action, an agent's nervous system, its body, and its environment are viewed as coupled dynamical systems. So like I said, when I'm looking to perceive an action, my cognition, what the embodied cognition, situated cognition says, is goal-oriented. It's based on perception. So just cognition is not happening disconnected from the world. I'm cognizing, and the purpose of cognition is to accomplish some cognitive task, or some task, you know, practical task in the world, while interacting with the environment. So how the perturbation from the environment influences the body, sensory motor, you know, uh, processes of the body, and how process the sensory motor processes, whether it be auditory or whether it visual or tactile, they reach the signal in the form of signals. They reach to the neural systems, neural networks or our nervous system and inside the brain, and our neural networks are again from the whatever the state they are, those values of neural activations they change, and they again according to time, with time they change, evolve into a different state. So this also explains. Now, what is more about how do we talk about these dynamical systems? So one thing is the concept is of state space or phase space. So the state space of a system is a set of states it can be in as determined by the variables that are used to measure it. I think I think we should first take the example of weather as a dynamical system. So what is happening here is in order to predict the weather, a very simple weather model that suppose it might be run by the computer, that is simulation, as a simulation on the computer. So that keeps track of the temperature, humidity, air pressure. So how the weather in Jammu depends, or Katra depends upon temperature, humidity, and air pressure, and then how the all these variables, say in Jammu, they are connected. You know. So, for example, our weather is a global system, but it's a dynamic system. So, how the temperature, the humidity, and pressure, suppose at Trikota Mountain, will influence the weather in Katra. So, if the humidity is more, definitely we can expect rain in Katra. But imagine that it is not that will be confined to the only Katra. You know, just if you are taking it as an example. So if something happens in Katra, our Kakrayal will be affected. If we are taking it as a imaginary boundaries, let's say, although it's all integrated system. So if something, any changes that occur in these variables in Katra, the effect will be again immediately felt in the values of temperature, humidity, and pressure in Katra and say Jammu. Or if something happens in Kashmir and Himachal, we immediately feel the difference in temperature here. So when there is rainfall, the temperature is low, we immediately feel the effect here. How does it happen? Because initial values there, the changes there, are also changing the values. There's the relevant values of temperature, humidity, and air pressure in Katra, where we are. So if a system is such a way, so that means it's a very unpredictable system. It's very difficult to predict, and now only with very powerful computers that we are able to predict much more accurately, because there's so many variables in so much different location. In this case, suppose so 15 variables, 5 variables at each location, and if you have to predict the overall in a district overall area, so 5 places, so that is 15 variables in a system. So in order to predict the overall consistently the overall weather in a region, you have to take care of all that and think about the Herculean task of making prediction about the say country, the whole region. And, what happens in these days that we have satellite pictures, imagery of the of our atmosphere, and basis of that those values we predict. So the changes in the system can be described in terms of movement from one point in space to another. You know. So this is what movement is basically. That system is changing in terms of change of values. Now, what will be state space or phase space? So all the possible states that our uh, weather could be, all the possible weather situations that we can are possible given the values that we just considered, say temperature, humidity, air pressure, you know, will be determined by the variables that we measure to use it. So the equation there will be an equation is more than one, and there will be variables in the equations, and the equation will describe the state of, let's say, weather in particular area. So depending upon the changing values of those variables, our weather can be in a very many possible states. It could be in high temperature, low temperature, less shiny, more shiny, cold. Like today, we change. we see a lot of changes in weather. Today itself in the university campus, it was cloudy, then it became a little, hazy, then it was a little bright, a little sunny. So temperature little down, little up. All these things are happening. These are possible states, but there is no drastic change as well. You know, because why it doesn't happen? Because ultimately, after the perturbations are over, wherever the all these values are, being changed because of the it is interconnected with the other weather networks, the whole weather network is for the country. So it also tend to settle down in a very fundamental and a basic, state. So for say there is a continuity of weather in wherever in so on campus, it's not that it is extremely cold and then extremely hot. There is uh, there is change, but very minute. And we know that according to weather, the our seasons changes. So from summer now soon there will be rain and then there's summer then rain and then slowly winter and all that. But over a period of time, so even throughout a day, our at the system, the weather as a dynamic system settles down in into a particular state for a while. So right now it is sunny. So it is sunny for a while, but then it will change into another phase state or state space, and that might be a little cloudy. But these are called attractors. That is a system that have relatively stable states called attractors. So for a certain considerable period of time, it will remain cloudy, or for 2-3 hours in a day it will rain, something like that. And phase transition is, of course, is change from one attractor state to another. It's called phase transition for what is happening right now. The one uh, attractor state was being cloudy, another attractor state was being windy, another attractor state was being sunny. So when it is changing one state to another, it is called phase transition. And most of all, the interesting is chaos. So it is so sensitive to the initial conditions that the values of its initial conditions that over a period of time it can bring a drastic change in the in a very dramatic change in the outcomes of as the system develops. For instance, it is called famously as butterfly effect, and it is described as that fluttering of a butterfly in Japan uh, you know, can bring a cyclone in or hurricane in America. You know, so butterfly effect is the fluttering of the wings of a butterfly in a particular region is a small, very small, insignificant event. Nothing is happening here. But in the initial condition, the perturbation that it has provided to the weather as a dynamic system will be far-reaching. But because it will keep changing and maybe it will keep the impact will be more and more as a more and more it spreads across the you know region. So more variables, like temperature, weather, the air pressure, and all, they are affected by the this initial perturbation will ultimately take a very dramatic but a very huge turn. It will become huge. Now we saw that. Now again, I tried in the initially. I already described to you that or how we see brain as a dynamical system. you know so you can also think about how does our brain maintain a relatively stable mental state, or body maintains a state. you know that's why some people try to believe that rather than being a computational or a quantum mechanical system or classical system, brain is more like a thermodynamic system. you know. So our brain is maintaining the homeostasis. It is minimizing the energy use. It is not allowing to increase the disorder and entropy. It is keeping the entropy low. And although it is getting perturbed each time, so that is beauty of it. But it's not that there are no changes at all. With everything that is happening around, with the information that is receiving in terms of signals, you know, it is it is changing the internal dynamics of the brain. And as you have seen in neural networks, they are thousands. One neuron has thousand one to 1,000 to 10,000 connections. You know, in terms of axons and dendrites, and they are specialized as processing information. So how you are able to process this information that this language this auditory perception that you're having right now. So it requires sort of, it is dynamically, it can be explained dynamically, and people have done, you know, experiments and developed model to dynamically to explain these, the cognitions as a as a dynamical system, the dynamical hypothesis. They have applied dynamical system hypothesis to study these cardiac systems. So our environment is changing. It is not always the same. Our brain is continuously interacting with it, and therefore it is also changing. So overall, it seems that this idea of phase state or state space attractors and phase transition, that explains much better. Perhaps chaos would be that maybe over what is today a very insignificant mm, in input or perturbation, initial condition, change in the initial condition or the present condition of your neural states. Tomorrow, also after a while, after many years, it might turn out to be cause of, let's say, schizophrenia or some disorder, mental psychological disorder, or maybe in some more positive way. So it is not that brain is not, it's a static system. Internally and externally, the values of, are changing. And from the neural networks, you can correlate it better because the neurons are always, they get activated from the information that we get from the inside, and this information is it is simply traveling in the form of signals. So they are, as long as it is traveling, it is allowed to propagate. The signal is allowed to propagate from one neuron to another, and neurotransmitters are released. It is changing our one brain state, one state to another. And also it's not that it's continuously changing chaotically, it is also settling down into certain attractors, one of the possible phase states, stable states, and then phase transition is taking place. So although it is happening very fast, so from being happy to being sad, and again coming back to be happy, or being excited, from being excited to being disappointed, or accomplishing a goal. So it starts, suppose you want to write something, write a sentence, so you think of it, you write it. So, or when you are thinking, you start a process, a dynamical process, you bring a change in your brain states, and ultimately after finish writing, your brain again gets back into its more relatively, or particular that area again gets back into that stable state. It's not that you're always moving your hands and arms all the time. You move, but then again, it leads to a certain change in your brain, or requires certain change in the brain, then again it settles back. So this is the whole idea of dynamical system. Philosophically, of course, we are not getting into the mathematics of differential equations and integral equations, but in short, this is the idea, and you can read a lot of literature is available on this, and there is, if anything more we want to discuss on the literature that you read, that I have sent you, and you're most welcome. Thank you.